You built a slick multi-agent system with CrewAI, shipped it to production, and then the invoice landed. For $1,000 for a workflow you thought would cost a few hundred. If that number made your stomach drop, you're not alone. And the reason isn't your prompts. It's the architecture underneath them. Here's what actually happened. CrewAI is built around autonomous agents that talk to each other. That sounds elegant, but every single conversation between agents is a full LLM call, and every one of those calls drags the entire accumulated context along with it. When your researcher agent hands off to your writer agent, and your writer hands off to your editor, you're not making 3 requests. You're making 3 requests that each resend the growing pile of everything said before. Token count snowball, and you're paying for the same context over and over. Let me put real numbers on it. Say you've got a 5-agent crew processing a customer request. Each agent adds roughly 2,000 tokens of reasoning, and each one needs the previous agent's output as context. By the time your 5th agent runs, it's ingesting the combined output of the first 4 plus the original task, plus its own system prompt. That's easily 15,000 input tokens on a single step. Multiply that across a few internal retries, because agents second-guess each other and loop, and one user request quietly burns 80,000 tokens. Now run that 1,000 times a day. The retries are the silent killer. CrewAI's agents are designed to be a little bit autonomous, which means they decide when a task isn't done well enough and try again. That autonomy feels magical in a demo and looks terrifying on a billing dashboard. An agent that reruns a research step 3 times because it wasn't confident just tripled the cost of the most expensive part of your pipeline, and nobody explicitly told it to. This is where LangChain changes the math. LangChain, especially with LangGraph, lets you define the workflow as an explicit graph instead of a conversation between free-roaming agents. You decide exactly which step runs, what context it receives, and when it stops. Instead of passing the whole history forward, you pass only the specific variables the next node actually needs, the summary, not the transcript. That single discipline can cut your token usage by 60 to 70% on the exact same task. It also gives you cheap escape hatches. In LangChain, you can route trivial steps to a small, cheap model and reserve the expensive model for the one node that genuinely needs reasoning power. Your classification step runs on a model that costs pennies. Your final synthesis runs on the premium one, and you're not paying flagship prices for a step that's basically a lookup. CrewAI's agent abstraction tends to push you toward one powerful model for everyone, because the agents are generalists by design. To be fair, this isn't CrewAI being bad software. It optimizes for developer speed and getting a plausible multi-agent system running in an afternoon, and it's genuinely great for prototypes and internal tools where volume is low. The problem is when you take that prototype straight to production without realizing that the convenience you bought up front gets repaid, with interest on every request at scale. So the rule of thumb is simple. If you're exploring, throwing ideas together, or running low volume, CrewAI's ergonomics are worth the premium. But the moment you have predictable, high-frequency workflows, model the process explicitly, control your context, and route by cost. Rebuild that same pipeline in LangGraph, trim the context you pass between steps, and drop your cheap steps to cheaper models. And that $4,000 bill starts looking a lot more like $400.